towards Zidane. Oh, fantastic!
Real Madrid's greatness is evident in their recent success. From Cristiano Ronaldo's towering Madrid winning 3 consecutive Champions League titles to the team that has given us some of the most unforgettable comebacks in football history. Those achievements mark a golden era at the club. But like any great garden, there was a gardener who had nurtured it from its roots. In the case of Real Madrid, that gardener has a name: Santiago Bernabeu. We have to go back to the first decade of the 20th century, when football arrived in Spain, the fashionable game, where clubs were formed by friends. There were no rules and the usual formation was a 2-0-8. Born in Almensa, a small town in Spain, Bernabeu moved to Madrid as a young boy studying in a school on the outskirts of Madrid, where he met people who would go on to manage Real Madrid. At just 15, he made his debut for Real Madrid, a club with a dressing room in the back room of a tavern and which had smoking breaks in the middle of the game. He was so clumsy that he was called the Duck. Despite his clumsiness, he became captain of Real Madrid. But as being a player at that time he was not paid and even made a loss, he left football. Bernabeu was assigned the position of assistant coach and transfer manager. In 1936, the Civil War broke out in Spain, which caused a big crisis at the club as Real Madrid players had to go to war. Bernabeu fled Madrid and was on many occasions on the verge of losing his life. In 1939, the situation of Real Madrid was critical. Money was spent on war donations, the headquarters were bombed, trophies were stolen, stands were thrown away for wood. But worst of all, there were only 5 players left of the then squad, as the others had been exiled, arrested, or shot. Bernabeu was forced to scour Madrid in search of partners to help him rebuild the stands, rebuild the headquarters, and sign new players for the club. Despite all the complications, Real Madrid managed to assemble enough players to start the league, but were overcome by the crisis to the point where they were on the brink of relegation. The turning point in Real Madrid's history came in 1943 in the semi-final of the Copa del Generalísimo between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. It was a match of shouting and insults at the Barcelona Football Club's ground, then called Campo de las Corts, where Barcelona beat Real Madrid 3-0. In the return leg, at the Old Chamartín, Madrid won by an overwhelming 11-2 scoreline. As expected, the shouting and insults were deafening, causing a fine of 20,100 pesetas for both clubs and resignation of the presidents of FC Barcelona and Real Madrid. It was then that Santiago Bernabeu was appointed president of Real Madrid and the rise of the biggest club in history began. As a man with little financial wealth and little social status, he thought that in less than a year he would be ousted from the board. Bernabeu proposed the construction of a new stadium on the outskirts of Madrid, on the Paseo de la Castellana, multiplying the capacity of his current stadium by a factor of 6. The newspapers branded Bernabeu crazy, but with the help of the members, he managed to push the project through. They say that Real Madrid is the team of the rich, when the truth, as Bernabeu says, the base is among those who built the stadium. Of the 40,000 members, there were 20 aristocrats. Bernabeu was offered a plot of land next to the new stadium, which he turned down as he did not want to make profit at Real Madrid's expense. In 1947, the best stadium in the world at that time with a capacity of 100,000 spectators was inaugurated. Despite this, Madrid had its worst season and was almost relegated. Many even went so far as to say that Madrid was a second-rate team with a first-rate team stadium. In 1952, with the incorporation of Raimundo Saporta on the board of directors, Madrid was ready to sign. Fascinatingly, Bernabeu managed to snatch Di Stéfano away from arch-rivals Barcelona, who looked like heavy favorites to sign the Argentine. Along with Paco Gento, they would become the emblematic players for the club. The board of members changed the name of the stadium to Santiago Bernabeu in honor of his sacrifice for the club, a name that will prevail to this day. During these years, Madrid won numerous league titles, increasing the club's popularity. Years later, the team proposed a European competition that would pit the champions of each country against each other. UEFA, created a few months earlier, and FIFA were not interested, but Bernabeu, a visionary, got together with men from L'Equipe to take the project forward, and that is when the European Cup of League Champions Club, now known as the UEFA Champions League, was born. Madrid began to Spain's ambassador after the absolute domination of European football, with the winning of 5 consecutive European Cups between 1956 and 1961. In 62 and 64, they lost 2 European Cup finals and Bernabeu was forced to rebuild the club. One of the most drastic decisions was to get rid of Alfredo Di Stefano, as his talent was not matched by his physical condition at the age of 38. Bernabeu bet on the youth team, which was a great success as in the 60s they won 5 consecutive league titles without losing a game in 8 years and 3 months at their stadium, and won the European Cup in 1966. Santiago Bernabeu developed cancer, which forced him to retire as president of Real Madrid, and with him, his board members. He finally died with 300 pesetas in the bank and an estate inherited from his father, a few suits, and a few books, fulfilling his promise never to profit at Real Madrid's expense. After his death, Madrid went 32 years without winning a European Cup, but his legacy made Real Madrid the most successful club in the world and the club with the most European Cups in the world today.